Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be molding this gauge pod into my A-pillar. So the reason that I want to do this is because I want to live out my Fast and Furious fantasies. Like I can't make no excuses up. But no, for real though, I keep telling y'all this car is going to go turbo real soon, and in order to monitor what's going on with the engine, it's good to have some gauges. Now there's different ways to do it. You can have digital gauges. I'm going to be going Honda. I already got the ECU ready to go, and that will allow you to Bluetooth to like an Android phone and have digital gauges. But I don't want that. I want analog gauges. I want them right in my face, and I want it to feel like 2002 in here. But the first thing I need to do before I do anything is I spray painted these to match the headliner. Whenever we did the headliner black, I need to take that off. That way we have a good surface to work with. It's not really good to work on top of spray paint, and I want this to last, and I want this to look beautiful and professional, and I'm going to take my time with it. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these bad boys out, and I'm going to go ahead and get the spray paint off. I'm not going to record it because it don't really matter. I'm just going to literally sand it off, and I'm going to come back and we're going to start working. Alright, so now I got the A-pillar all sanded up. Now it's time to test with the gauge pods on here. Now, one thing you want to watch out for is if the rubber seal that goes around your door wraps around and lands on the A-pillar, you want to make sure that the gauge pod do not land right there, because what's going to happen is once you start to mold this into the A-pillar, it's going to bulge your weather stripping right here, and it's just not going to look that good. Alright, so now I got it up here, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of trimming because it's too much material on the gauge pod. On this edge is a little too much material, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. But while I got it on the A-pillar right now, I want to mark basically where I would like this to be. So again, you want to watch the weather stripping. And another thing that you want to watch, your dashboard right here, because a lot of times the A-pillar goes down into this crevice right here behind the dashboard. If you mold this too low, you won't be able to snake the A-pillar down and you won't be able to get it on. So I'm thinking right here is a good location. It's like halfway. It's like basically in the middle of the A-pillar. Should be a good location so I can see the gauge is pretty good. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and just draw a line. And that's basically where I want it to sit. Alright, so I got it trimmed up. As y'all can see, it fits a lot better now. I'm gonna have to take some off on the left side too. It's mainly up at the top. So if I apply heat and clamp it to the A-pillar and then take the heat away and let it cool down, it should, in theory, keep it the same shape that it need. That way we're very close. But before I do that, like I said, I need to take a tiny bit off the left side. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Okay, so after a whole bunch of cutting and grinding and sanding, I came up with this. So I did cut away a good bit amount of material, and I also like grind it or like sand it, whatever you want to call it, the inside, to make the edges a little bit thinner. That way when you put it up to the A-pillar, it creates a nice smooth transition, so that'd be very easy to mold in. So I want to go ahead and take this A-pillar off, and I'm gonna screw the gauge pile onto the A-pillar and start applying a little bit of heat just to kind of mold this plastic a little bit even more to make it even more perfect, and go from there. Alright, so I got it screwed in. It's holding itself on. And I ain't gonna lie, that's looking fire. Here's the driver's seat position. The screws are only there just to clamp the gauge pod to the A-pillar while the epoxy is drying. So that's exactly what we're about to do. I'm about to take this back off, go ahead and clean this up, and get the plastic weld on there. I'm using JB Weld plastic weld. Get that all on there, screw it back in, and I'm gonna let that cure. so a few days have passed and the JB weld has cured. Now it's time to basically get this sanded down and get another layer of the plastic weld on there. I have plastic bonder this time. I'm gonna also take these screws out and go ahead and fill it with that plastic bonder too, because it don't need it now. It's solid on there now. And what I'm gonna try to do is basically stuff as much as I can just in the crease between the A-pillar and the gauge pod. But I don't want to do it all just everywhere, because it just needs it right there that I can sand that layer down, and then it'll be a nice smooth transition between the pod and the pillar. Here's another good example right here where I didn't do the greatest job of shaping this for the pillar, so I had to use the plastic bonder to make the shape for me. I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue, but the first thing, like I say, I need to do is get this sanded down and then go ahead and get this bonded up. So if you can see, it's kind of caving in on a big gap. So I'm going to let this layer dry, and then I'm going to apply more on top of that and let that dry, and then I'm going to sand that down smooth. Alright, so here it is with the final layer put on. It's looking pretty smooth. Now, I've sanded it right here just to make sure to get the right grit. I'm going to end up using 240 to smooth this out. Literally, all you got to do is just knock this down and it should come out pretty smooth. Filled up the screw holes. Now mind you, this don't have to be too smooth because I'm flocking it, but if you were painting it, you wouldn't want this to be as smooth as possible, because your finished product is literally how the paint is going to look. So, but since flocking is a texture, it's going to, like, let's say these screw holes right here, it's going to fill that in. Like any small imperfections, it'll fill in. So I ain't too worried about it, but I'm going to take this 240, I got it on my drill, go ahead and sand this down, and that should be it with sanding. It should be ready to flock after that. So let's go ahead and get busy. Here it is, finally molded into the A-pillar. Of course, I have to test fit it, see how it looks factory. Y'all might not be able to tell because it's transitioning colors. That's because of the JB weld that's there, and I used two different colors. One was clear and one was black. But it's a nice smooth transition, and any indentations where I didn't fill it properly, I'm not going to waste time adding more. I can just say that little bit I got and instead correct it with the epoxy. But now it's time to clean it up, and I'm going to spray some adhesive promoter on there, because one guy I was watching, it was actually the official Glow Shift tutorial on how to mold these into the pillar, but I'm going to use adhesive promoter on this to hopefully help the epoxy cure to the plastic. I don't know if it's necessary, but I bought it, so why not use it? So I'm going to get this cleaned up with some alcohol, spray it with some adhesive promoter, and then let that fully cure, and then it's time to flock it. So let's get that done. Alright, so there you have it. I'm finally finished. I went ahead and threw this oil pressure gauge, one of the most important gauges that I'm putting in my pod, but I didn't wire it up or anything yet. I'm going to save that for the next video. I got to make sure I have content for y'all to come back to watch, so that's going to be for the next video. Right now, looking at this, it honestly looks amazing. It looks so professional. I ain't gonna lie, there are areas where I kind of miss with the flock, but it's really not that big of a deal. One good thing about using that black epoxy is if you miss some spots, I mean, it's black with the rest of the A-pillar, so it ain't that big of a deal. Overall, it looks amazing. This is the best I've done. This is my third time doing this, so I guess third time's the charm. I have the last car I did. I think I may have made it private because it's kind of bad, but I think I'm gonna make it public just to show y'all that compared to this, because it's honestly completely different. So yeah, I ain't gonna hold y'all too much longer. I appreciate y'all watching. If y'all got any questions about this process or just want to have a conversation, leave them comments below. Also make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.